So a while ago, I asked you all if you wanted to hear about an essay that, quite literally, got me into a university. And that essay is entirely related to Miitopia. This is about a 4.5-page essay. This essay isn't just about Miitopia, but it's about game design, and I was supposed to review a certain mechanic from whatever game I chose. So, let's give it a go. The game I wanted to put under review is Miitopia, a rather unconventional RPG, and its system of independency. By this, I mean that the system in which the characters have wills and personalities of their own. This system affects many areas of the game, and defines a lot of the charm that draws people in to love it. As wide-ranging as it is, it's most definitely able to be condensed down into a single system. I'll go over how exactly it affects the overall gameplay, the balancing and reason for it, and what I would do to improve upon it. Firstly, the independency system can be seen in action while during combat, shopping events, and even eating food. A big reason for this is because the game is supposed to consist of real people, you and your friends. The entire cast consists of Miis, a creation of Nintendo meant to be an avatar that represents people. The main characters in your party are all given a basic personality trait from a list meant to show what that person most aligns with. These personality traits grant certain skills, but not ones that you can choose to use. For instance, the laid-back personality has a chance to give it their all in an attack, or maybe they'll be especially lazy. Even in combat alone, personality has more that it affects than just that. There are other abilities which can change a Mii's mood, such as one called Avenge. If someone that a Mii is particularly close with drops to 0 HP in battle, they let their emotions get the better of them and attack immediately. Miis who have the stubborn personality will get angry, while ones with the kind personality become sad. Going even further into the independency of these characters, there's relationships. As I said earlier, Miis can activate certain abilities depending on how close they are to another, and this not only adds character to the game, but makes battles more interesting. You can only control yourself in this game, as everyone has free will, but the characters may collaborate with you and others in their attacks. You might get a helping hand while casting a spell, or execute a special maneuver, but things don't always necessarily go well. Miis can run into rough patches in their relationships, and in those instances, they'll interrupt each other's turns, reluctantly heal someone if they're upset, or maybe even rough up each other. In terms of things outside of combat, there are smaller things too, such as shopping. Miis will buy their own weapons and armor when you give them money, but sometimes they'll get a bit distracted when shopping, and instead buy a restorative item. When it comes to events, a Mii might find themselves with a strange hole that they could dig into. Depending on their personality, they could give up halfway through, or keep digging for hours until they find something. An extension of a Mii's independency is the fact that they can, and will, become sick over time, needing to rest. Other Miis might even check in on them while they spend their time recovering. Lastly, a Mii even has their own favorite foods, which lead to certain stat boosts, but depending on the individual, they might hate a food or love it, giving them lesser or greater bonuses. Next, there's the fact of how well this mechanic was designed. There are two main goals of this system, I believe: accessibility and charm. The fact that no one playthrough will be the same, and your imagination can run wild with those you're friends with, increases the charm of this game by a lot. The fact that you might win a battle through a Mii's ability to think ahead and prepare, or even because of a bond that two of them share, helps make this game stick in people's minds. This charm has earned the game an extremely loving fan base, despite its size. Secondly, there's the accessibility. The fact that the Miis can make their own choices in combat and can become stronger together makes the game easier for those who aren't so experienced with RPGs. Not only this, but it feels like you can put the game down at any moment, unlike some other games, where it can feel like a bit of a commitment or even a chore to play. Aside from these two things, the system accomplishes more than just that. You can normally only have 4 people in a party at once, but we'll have 12 party members throughout the story, and eventually need to use all 12. The fact that a Mii will make themselves stay at home when they're sick gives the player a reasonable explanation to use different team members and to evenly level them up. However, this system is not without its faults. As I've said before, this system and game are fairly unconventional, and having a system that takes away control and agency from a player can make them uncomfortable with the game and not want to play it. This is an issue commonly seen with the game, and while the people who enjoy the game tend to be rather big fans of it, there are relatively few of them. Another reason people may get bored of the game, besides the removal of complete control, is the amount of possibilities being in a strange place. While many things can happen, between random events, abilities, and skills, there is, of course, a limited amount of them. The amount Miitopia has, however, can come off as too limited, where players may see the same event multiple times and feel cheated or disillusioned by it. It's true that many things can happen, and that the Miis act on their own, but the point of when you've seen most of what they have to offer is quite noticeable. Finally, there's how this system could be improved. Well, if you've played the game a few times, you can figure out ways to manipulate the AI of the Miis and how they work. But you won't know this if you are a first-time player. I believe that there are 2 remedies for the player's lack of control, while retaining the uniqueness of the game's design and Mii's actions. In games with similar combat, such as Yokai Watch, you have the ability to pin an enemy. I think that Miitopia would benefit from having this feature because new players would have a simple and obvious way to direct their party. Secondly, I'd add NPCs that instruct the player on unknown tips about the game's mechanics. While the game is meant to be very casual and not requiring much strategy, being able to learn something that you would not have known about combat can be very interesting and engaging. As for the other main issue, being the amount of possibilities, I think a good solution could be making the game secretly more complex and taking more time to add more events. There's actually a remake of this game, which came out last year and offered a handful of new things, but random events and character-based skills were not among those things. I think that more unique skills, similar to the ones granted by personality, could make the game a lot more fun. Having these be tied to something that isn't easy to see at a glance would prevent a lot of disillusionment that people experience. Of course, if this was purely random, it would raise a lot more problems. Relating these skills to something such as favorite colors, a characteristic decided by the creator of a Mii, would give agency to those who want it. In conclusion, the independency system of Miitopia is something that's very unconventional for RPGs. This system is what makes or breaks the game for most people, and you could very well say that it's the core of Miitopia. It is a great part of most of the game, and works the angle of its charm, with shortcomings and wide-ranging appeal, and can also be improved upon. Some games have certain visions, and want to break boundaries within the industry, but it is a risky play. Fans and other designers taking another look at things, and re-evaluating the systems and mechanics, however, can lead to very valuable feedback. And that's the end of the essay. At the bottom page, I actually linked a few images and some videos, as I was required to demonstrate these mechanics in the game. So, I linked a video by Red Ace Productions called Miitopia, All Quirks, as well as 2 videos by Kurosmo using their assist for the first time in HD, as well as standing guard for the night with different personalities. So yeah, that was a pretty long 4-page essay, and it got me into university. You can very much say that Miitopia got me into a college. And I hope that you all had fun reading this, and basically my look into just a simple part of Miitopia, but a very big part of it. And yeah, thank you to everybody for watching, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye!